6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour.
Welcome to CloudCast360, bringing you features, news, and interviews from the world of music, the arts, and beyond. Tonight's host, Bruce Weech, interviews guests from the world premiere of Romeo and Juliet, the musical, currently showing at the Lincoln Theater in downtown Mount Vernon. And now, here's Bruce. Bruce? Could somebody tell him we're rolling?
Welcome to CloudCast360. I'm Bruce Weech, and we're broadcasting live from our studio. And tonight, we've got some exciting guests from a world premiere, Romeo and Juliet, the musical. This is an adaptation from Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, and the music was written by composer and my guest and friend, Mr. Conrad Asklund. Good to see you, Conrad.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having us tonight.
Oh well, I'm delighted to have you, and thank you. This is our world premiere for CloudCast360, so we're very excited about it, and we're excited to have you tonight. Also, we've got Miss Lindsay Bowen, who is also in the cast, and you're playing the nurse.
The nurse.
The nurse, and a very naughty nurse, if I might say so.
Maybe a little naughty.
Little naughty, and of course her husband. Joe Bowen, who is the director of Romeo and Juliet, the musical, and is also appearing as the Corpse Master. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, good to see you tonight, Joe.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Okay. Well, I'll try not to ask any questions I don't know the answers to, because that's the first rule if you've got an audience, and especially a critical audience, is to know what you're talking about. So we're going to try and do that tonight. Again, I'm Bruce Weech, and I, too, appear in the musical. I'm Prince Aeschylus. And so thanks for casting me, guys. I've had a great time with it. We are heading into our closing weekend, and that's pretty exciting. We've had great houses. So, Conrad, for people that don't know you, you've got an amazing background. I was reading a little bit on your bio, and you began your first professional job at 9?
Yeah, with Seattle Opera.
Oh, very good.
As a chorus member, as a voice soprano, and then eventually a title role with Seattle Opera with the Mall and the Night Visitors.
Which has been done here in the Valley a number of times by one of the opera company here. So excellent. So you started out with there, and then obviously music is your passion. It's been your living your whole life, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've done shows my whole life for a living. Sometimes musical theater shows, but I lived in California for a long time doing soundtracks and Las Vegas style shows, rock shows, things like that.
Okay, so one thing that really stood out to me is that I see on your resume that you were with Cirque du Soleil.
4 years.
4 years. Now that had to be exciting.
It was. That was in Macau, China. Their show called Zaya at the Venetian. It was a resident show, and I was the what they call the band leader.
Okay.
So you're in charge of all the musicians, also doing all the computer editing, doing the charts for the musicians, working with the composer, and it was just a fantastic experience.
Well, every night I've been to several Cirque du Soleil shows, and I'm always amazed, at the whole production. And I mean, so we go from Macau, China, Cirque du Soleil show to the Lincoln Theater in Mount Vernon, Washington.
Right.
Bit of a transition, but. This is where you chose to premiere your musical, isn't it correct?
Yeah, this Skagit County to me feels like home. I was raised in Bellevue, Washington,
okay,
but I've lived up here when between gigs since 2006, and the theater community up here I really resonate with. They're my friends. I feel a connection that I haven't felt in other areas that I've lived. So this is where I call home, and I love the Lincoln Theater. I love the old school vibe of the Lincoln Theater.
She's a grand old lady, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, and if you haven't been to the Lincoln before, you definitely should go. And if you haven't been to the Lincoln lately, you should come this weekend and see us in Romeo and Juliet, the musical, that's for sure. Now, you were just working in New York just previous to this. Right. So what were you doing there?
I was music director for Rock of Ages with Norwegian Cruise Line. out of the Port of New York.
Okay.
And did that for 6 months. And right after Romeo and Juliet, I'll be going back to sea and doing that for another 6 months.
Now that sounds like a pretty good job.
It's a crazy show, and it's full out rock, and I get to wear a wig, and just like I'm back in the '80s in LA.
Oh yeah,
and,
yeah, there you go.
It's very fun.
So do you have a curly wig or do you have a straight wig? Tell me about your wig.
For the last run, it was a straight wig.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's funny because in the wig, I've had people who knew me when I lived in LA in the late '80s. And they go, "That's how you used to look."
Oh.
You know, so it's a really fun show.
Oh yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. So you're going to go back to that, and then it's for another 6 months. Yeah. And now this isn't the first musical you've written, is it?
No, this is the third full-length musical. The first was Witches, was done in 2012 at the Lincoln with Theater Arts Guild.
Okay.
And then Pan the musical, which was Witches was about the Salem witch trials. Pan was a new retelling of the Peter Pan story. And
Excellent.
that was presented by Meta Performing Arts in 2013.
Okay.
And then this one. So I've basically been putting up a full-length musical every year for 3 years in a row now.
That's a tremendous output of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
And you know, I've been involved with this production since August of 2014, and you had already done 99% of the work already. So
right.
Is this what you do on your time off at sea?
Yeah, basically I do the show, and if I'm not working on the show, while the other people are at the beach and doing the crew parties, I'm in my cabin at the computer working on my
it's kind of a
musical.
loner.
Okay. Well, you know, we all have different things that I know that there are people think I'm crazy for the things that I do, and so.
Actually, I'll address that. You know, in the moment, it seems very antisocial, and that I'm losing out on the moment. But at the end of those 6 months, when I walk off that ship, I have a brand new work that I can present, and that feels so good. So that's the path I prefer to use with my time.
And you know, productive time, and we are limited in what we've got in this world, and that's for sure. And you know, I'm becoming more and more aware of that as each year goes by. I have to say that I've really enjoyed working with you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you know, you're demanding and at times difficult, but that's great because we know where we stand, which is a great thing to know. You know where you stand, and you've done a fantastic job with this. And I think we're going to, real quick, I'd like to show a clip. We've got a couple that we pulled off the website, or the website, which is Romeo and Juliet, the musical. And but there's a couple of things that are attached to your bio. And so we're going to pull off, I think we'll look at Pan first, because Meta also did that.
Okay.
And so we'll do just a quick little brief clip with Pan.
Great.
Thanks. We'll be right back.
Picnics on the lawn, dancing until dawn, swimming like a roller coaster, barely holding on.
Then you can be a pirate, sail the 7 seas.
Read it quick, don't ever now. You're a pirate lover now.
The window must always be left open.
Never interrupt a mermaid.
I hope you enjoyed that clip that we just showed you. And as you can see, we've done a little swap seats, and I've got Lindsay Bowen here next to me. So, Lindsay, tell me a little bit about yourself. You've been in the Valley your whole life?
Born and raised.
Born and raised. So you are
I'm a Valley girl.
You are a Valley girl.
Valley girl all the way.
Would that be a Skagitonian? Or
Skagitonian.
Very
Valley
good.
girl.
Very good. So, Lindsay, I've worked with you a number of times on stage, and you have quite a repertory. What, your recent roles, of course, you're the nurse in this, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but what would be another memorable role for you that you'd like to, that you think about and you'd maybe like to do again, or that you have fond memories of?
I honestly would never like to do another role again. I don't believe in repeating myself.
Okay, so
I'm far too interested in other roles to go back. But Sally Bowles, Cabaret. Truly probably one of the best roles I've ever played in my entire life.
That's the answer I was hoping for.
Catherine in Proof, Babe in Crimes of the Heart.
Yep, I've seen all those
All
shows.
fantastic female roles. Very different. And yet each one had a little part of myself, as you would expect.
Well, I don't think as an actor, I can do anything that I don't have personal knowledge of, that I'm not part of already.
Well, we have to. We have to tap in.
Well, to tap into those things, you have to have some knowledge, otherwise it doesn't come off as real.
Right,
Never
totally.
comes off as real. Well, so you got involved with you were also on the Meta board, is that correct?
I'm not anymore.
Okay,
I was
you were.
for a couple
Okay.
years, yeah.
And so, but you've been involved with the Meta Performing Arts, and didn't you direct a show last year?
I did. I directed The Outsiders.
Okay.
Beautiful show. Had the time of my life. One of the most incredible experiences ever. I composed the music, the underscore to it, designed the set, cast the show, directed the hell out of it, and it was awesome.
Well, did you play Ponyboy too?
No. It's the only thing I didn't do.
I saw the show.
That's the only thing I didn't do.
I saw the show and it was good, and I enjoyed it.
I thought it was
Right.
awesome.
Well, of course, and the kids
You?
did great.
I did. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I love the
Conrad wasn't here. He was on the boat.
He was on the
writing the musical.
that's right.
Writing
Now,
Romeo and Juliet.
well, let's get back to Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
So what are you doing with the nurse that's different than say someone's going to see anytime?
Well, I think probably what might be a little different about the nurse this time is that I'm younger than or at least I'm playing her younger,
Okay.
right? Generally, she seems to be interpreted in her 50s, which to me doesn't really make sense. And so I'm playing her a little bit younger, a little bit bawdy, a little bit more feisty.
I'm surprised. Body
I mean,
and feisty.
Body and feisty.
Really?
And it's working.
Is it?
I think it's working great. The audience loves me.
Of course they love you.
They're
Lindsay.
loving the role. You know what it is? It's a comedic role. It's supposed to have a comedic relief, especially in the first act. But the weird thing about the role is in the second act, she's truly Juliet's real mother. She's more in love with Juliet and probably closer to Juliet than her own mother is. And so the tragedy hits her very hard. And there's a beautiful development of her character in the second act. And that's what's fun, is to explore both sides. The fun, crazy, comedic character in the beginning, and then this heartfelt mother just wants to do anything she can to help Juliet.
Well, that sounds pretty exciting, and I know that I don't get to watch the whole show because I'm in the green room. I watched it during rehearsal, and I think it's running Thursday, Friday, Saturday night at 7:30, and then we've got a matinee at
Sunday
1,
at 2.
2 o'clock.
Sunday matinee at 2.
Sunday matinee at 2
The
o'clock.
15th, yep.
So that would be the last chance to see this initial premiere,
And a
world
perfect
premiere.
show to take your date to on Valentine's Day.
I keep hearing that. I keep hearing a lot of people are coming. I would take my date, but I'm going to be there performing as well.
Yeah.
But it's a great show. I think it is a great show. I think it's a privilege to be a part of it.
Love being a part of it.
Now you were you in Pan, or did you have anything to do with Pan?
I only built the set.
Only built the set. Oh, that was the pirate ship and all that.
And did all the photography. I'm the photographer for Meta.
Okay.
So all the promotional stuff that's been done.
Well, good.
She's got a pink toolbox.
Now, we do have, I think, access to some of the photos that you took, the cast photos, for this show, and I'd like to show the audience some of Lindsay Bowen's
I would love
recent
for you to
work.
see them.
Okay, well, we're going to take a look at that, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to CloudCast360. We've got some of the cast. We have of Romeo and Juliet, the musical, and we've got the director, Joe Bowen, here to talk to next. And Joe's also an actor and been a partner with me in a theater group. So you're currently the board president of Meta Performing Arts. Is that
Correct.
Okay. And you are a practicing attorney also, aren't you not?
For 26 years now.
26 years and a Harvard grad.
I am a Harvard man, yes.
Look at that.
You can always tell a Harvard man, but you can't tell him much.
You know what? I would agree with him. So, Joe, you're the director of Romeo and Juliet the musical, it's world premiere, and that's quite an honor, I think, to be able to work with a professional like Conrad and a number of other. So, how did you approach this? I mean, did you find it a daunting task?
Very daunting. The idea of taking the music and using the lyrics and putting them together was at the same time daunting but exhilarating.
So the lyrics are as written by William Shakespeare. I'm correct. Isn't there one word that was changed? Something or one phrase?
Conrad, we didn't talk about changing any words. Did you change some words without telling me?
There were 3 words in the entire script that were just updated to modern words.
Okay.
3 words.
3 words.
Is all that have been changed.
And of course, we wanted, for full disclosure, when I talk about it, it's a big cut. It tells a story beautifully. It's a good cut. But Romeo and Juliet is 5 acts generally, and we're doing the story in 2 acts.
2, yep.
But they've combined scenes masterfully. There's some beautiful music for segues and turning that through.
Yep.
So, Joe, when did you start on this project with Conrad? I know Conrad started over a year ago.
We started working on this project before we finished our last project.
Which was?
Which was Pan the Musical.
Okay, so in Pan the Musical, were you the director of that
I was
also?
the director of that as well.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I had a role in that too.
Okay, and you were Mr. Darling,
Yes,
I believe.
indeed.
And when
Yes,
I saw
indeed.
that show, that
everybody,
Still is.
everybody else that asked to do that role, including
that's
you,
Mrs. Darling?
including you, was busy. So I had, I just had to force myself to take it to this. But she asked me what my approach to this,
yes.
and my approach is not scholarly. I wouldn't call it Shakespearean. I don't want people to come there because they feel like it's good for them, or they're going to, or like they're going to have the experience of going to a college lecture or some big festival. I want it to just be a play.
Okay.
And I think that the music succeeds in doing that. When Shakespeare first put this play on, the show was so familiar, everybody knew it. And I'm sure when they saw the bills, they had the same kind of reaction that we do now when a big novel comes out to the screen. Oh, 50 Shades of Grey is coming. I'm sure
we know the story.
We know the story. I'm so excited to see that come to the stage. I'm sure that people were saying the same thing. Oh, isn't this great, Bruce? Romeo, this new kid Shakespeare is doing this play and doing Romeo and Juliet as a play. And they had these real emotions, these visceral reactions to the show and the characters and the things that were said because they're so familiar. We get those same reactions these days with things we're familiar, but what we're most familiar with is music. And so I think Conrad and his music can put us back into that place. I'm hoping, and that's my goal, is to try to make people feel the way that they did the first time they saw the show. The first time they fell in love with the characters, the first time that the story unwound and the tragedy unwound, and you started to feel your throat your heart well up, and you started choking back.
Well, I understand. That makes a lot of sense to me because, well, ask anybody from school kid on up is going to have heard of Romeo and Juliet. You've heard of Romeo and Juliet, right? We've all heard of Romeo and Juliet. I have been in the theater for a long, long, long time, and quite honestly, this is the 5th Romeo and Juliet that I've been a member of the cast. First time I played Prince Aeschylus, but it's a different production, and you're right, it is new and different, and it is got a nice feel, and the music does carry the story, but we don't lose the Shakespearean text, which I was very impressed personally on how that's been done. And the work that it took to do that.
We like to think that we took it out of the garage, we ran it around, we did some things that maybe weren't quite intended at the beginning, but at the end we put it back where we found it. I hope. And I think that the language, of course, you can't tamper with the language or take it away because it's that very language that takes you right back to that era. It takes you back to the time and place. And more than that, another thing I've found, I've seen this play. I've been in this play twice now, and and I've read it, and I've seen so many productions. I was a theater nut before I was a
Before you were just a
participant.
nut?
Yeah, before I was just a nut, I was a theater nut before I was a participant, and I saw this a lot, and I find that the actors would be in rehearsal, and they'd sing a particular line, and I'd be listening to that, and my jaw would just drop, and I'd stop, and I'd say, "Is that really part of the play? It's like I've never heard that before." You know, and I'd shake him. "Did you know that this play and said that?" And he has a knack for finding lines that we sometimes, actors sometimes call throwaway lines, and set them to music, and it puts the proper emphasis on it when he does it. And again,
Well,
I
didn't
think
you
that's
call
part of
it?
the
I
secret.
just right here. Didn't I remember Conrad? You were talking about shivers
Shivers.
Yes.
early on, and is that what Joe is referring to? What you would think of as a shiver?
In a way, I have a thing with auditions and when I'm playing music that I call the shiver count. When someone's auditioning, I will mark down how many shivers I get, regardless of whether I consciously like or dislike their performance, because the shivers is what's getting you. I don't know if the word would be in a
Visceral?
a primal emotion. And with the music, I've tried to get as many shivers for me for my own music as I can, because that cuts to the core of it's not whether you like it or not like it. You're having a reaction.
Excellent, and I believe that's kind of the idea with a lot of this. Why
Did
we
you
do
get shivers
theater
with me? When I
is to get. Well, Lindsay needs some attention. Okay.
I work a long day,
God,
and
I know you did.
I undergo a lot
Talk
of
about the
pressure,
work.
and I serve a lot of people. And I noticed one day that I would come to rehearsal, and then that would be a whole new set of pressures I take on. But then Romeo would start to sing the first time that he saw Juliet. And I'll save it for the show, but the song that he composed would just relieve me from the cares, make me forget it, whatever I was doing, and just totally change my mood and make me so glad that I was there. So thanks for that song, by the way.
Well, good, and I'm really glad you came today. So, Joe, you've been a director. I know you've acted. What was as an actor? What's if you think back on, and I know you've been in a number of things. What's one of your favorite roles that you come up with?
Oh, that is the hardest question to ask an actor.
That's why I'm asking you. Just name one or two.
Just word association. I got to play Stanley Kowalski.
I knew it.
I asked.
I
Yes.
knew it.
Opposite
Streetcar name?
my own dear wife there.
Streetcar Named Desire.
I'm really getting into the role that I've got
Now, give me the Stella. Give me a little Stella. Give me a little Stella.
Okay, well, this is video. It's not
I
theater.
just give me a little Stella. Give me some Stella.
Hey, Stella! Stella!
I think.
You guys can edit that out, right?
Yeah, no, maybe not.
I thought it was
I think we
good.
might keep it in there. Yes.
I love that one. That was very intense. Well, that's a role I love to hate. I hated standing like everybody else did, and by the time you get to the end of the run, you have to ask yourself, "Geez, can I do this anymore? Can I?"
Okay,
let
so
any more
so
of
you
this
like
beast
being a
out of
wife
the
beater.
No, I hated being a wife
oh,
beater. I liked the role.
Okay. Do you any other roles?
Yes,
King and I.
had a
The
great
King.
time playing the King in The King and I.
Yes.
I got to play Adam, the oldest brother in Seven Brides. for
That was a
Seven
Great
Brothers,
role
directed
for
by
you.
one Bruce Weech.
Yes, I did direct that show.
It was a
I
great
got,
role.
I got into directing as we kind of passed the baton around here, and I got into directing. I got into directing musicals by accident almost. But the first one that I did, Seven Brides, or I'm not Seven Brides, Paint Your Wagon.
Paint Your Wagon.
Had such a great time with that, and you and I collaborated on Oklahoma, and
Yes.
that's some of my fondest memories. And Fiddler on the Roof was another one you were in. Just had the most beautiful memories, and Cabaret is something anybody that was a part of could just never forget.
Yeah, and Cabaret was an excellent show, and it's a great script and a good musical. So, what's next for you, Lindsay? What's coming up?
Rest and relaxation, Bruce.
That's a good answer. How about you, Conrad? You're back to work, aren't you?
Yeah, I take 2 weeks off after Romeo and Juliet. Go back to New York with Rock of Ages. and then start working on my next musical.
There you go. I'm excited.
I'm
You're gonna leak anything, or is this a secret, top secret?
Little leak.
It's tentatively scheduled for October 2016
Okay.
at the Lincoln Theater. Auditions would be somewhere around June.
And you're not going to talk about what it might be?
I've narrowed it down to 3 ideas. I'm going to
Okay.
explore them and see which one
Well, excellent.
speaks to me most.
I'm really looking forward to it, and I'll bet you that our audience is too. And I'm sure that I will get updates via email, and as soon as I know, you'll know. So, Joe, what are you up to next? What's
Well, I'm still president Meta Performing Arts,
Okay.
so it's my job to try to find vehicles for the students and the kids that would like to come into acting or be in the theater arts. And so I'm looking to put up another quality vehicle with a good, well-trained production team that can help them get to the next level.
Well, I've heard rumors that you're looking at, what is it, The Lion King?
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. Coming to you in the fall of 2015.
Oh, well, so that's another, and it's Meta, and that will be at the Lincoln also?
Yes, yes, indeed. What
Excellent.
I'm most looking forward to is getting an opportunity to act in a straight play. When we started this, and we started this journey together through musical theater about 13 years ago, the idea was to take a break from straight plays and do some musicals, and put a little money in the bank, for our theater group, so we can go back to straight plays. Well, it's been about 13
12
years, and I
years.
think it's time. So I'm really hoping that I can get cast in a show that's going up this fall called Death of a Salesman.
I've heard of that. I've heard that it's going to be probably in Bellingham.
I'm going to work on my chops.
Well, I'm sure that you'll do fine.
I heard there's a role in there for me too.
There just might be. You never know.
We'll
So
practice.
we've got another clip from a previous show that was done. This was your first musical, was Witches, and we're going to show that now. So we'll be right back.
You can tear and fight and pull, but life goes on.
God will take care of us.
You can go and cry if you want, but no one likes to see a drop.
But soon the devil, he came to me in a dream.
Watch the chaos come to fore. See the man for whom you're born. In case you ever wondered, in case you ever cared, in case you ever noticed, I'm here right now.
To wait for heaven's gift seems like a desperate measure when you know that you can have everything right now, not then.
A witch's examination. It's fun for me, not you.
Is a witch, isn't she? Yes. And you're a witch too, aren't you?
What? The trials begin.
Well, welcome back to Cloudcast 360. Here we are at our studio with live interview with some of the cast and the director and the writer for Romeo and Juliet the musical, which is a world premiere. And I wanted to talk a little bit with Joe and Conrad today about this has never been done before, successfully.
Successfully.
So it's been attempted.
It's been attempted to put Shakespeare's original words in a musical format has been tried many times, but never been done successfully. And successfully, the definition of that being a show that was received well by critics and also by audiences. So what we're attempting to do here, knowing it's never been done in over 400 years, 420 years, is monumental, and to do that from Mount Vernon, Washington, is a great feeling.
It is a great feeling.
A great feeling.
Yeah.
Sure. I dared him to do it. I didn't think he'd do it, but I dared him to do it, and he did. So.
Well, there was a little musical that's based on Romeo and Juliet. We've all kind of heard of as West Side Story,
Yep.
and that was quite successful.
Right, but not using Shakespeare's original text.
Correct. But now, your long-term plan. Now, this is the world premiere. It's never been seen before. It's been performed, and it has been very well received. And my gosh, there were some great critical reviews that were written, and they were actually not previews or anything else. They were reviews, and amazingly good reviews. So, what's the plan with this? Are you going to shop this? We're gonna be seeing Conrad Asklin and Lights in Broadway.
Well, my focus is on creating the works.
Okay.
And I love doing these world premieres locally because I'm able to work with the cast to make small little adjustments. Then I make my final revisions, and the show is done and available. And that's actually where I sign off and I let fate be what it's going to be. So I'm not focused on the post-show marketing. I'm focused on the creation. My thinking being, if the show is strong enough, word of mouth will spread and the right person will come along to make that difference. I may be very naive, but I'm very protective of my time, and I'd rather focus on creation and let other people focus on marketing.
And it might be that you just need the right marketer, because I want to tell the audience, this is an excellent show. If you haven't seen it and you get a chance to see it, please take advantage of it. I want to thank everybody for coming today. Lindsay, Conrad, Joe, it's been wonderful talking to you. Lots of good insights. And by golly, we're on stage and you're in the pit tomorrow night, 7:30, Lincoln Theater, Mount Vernon, Washington, and hope to see you there. Bye-bye.